I think I liked, well, I shouldn't say I like, it's unfortunate, but I think my growing up experience has been common amongst our people. I was in the child welfare system, and that was not good at all for me. It's a very bad experience, in fact. I mean, things have changed quite a bit. You know, I'm 38, so it was a good 30 plus years ago I was in the child welfare system, so things have progressed a great deal from when I was. It was a white family, so I wasn't raised with my culture in that regard. The only benefit I had was I had grandparents, very strong grandparents, who insisted on maintaining contact with me. Took me when they weren't supposed to several times, and that was kind of fun and exciting. But and so I had that connection to family and maintained that a great deal. That was a challenge. Went to school. I was a lot darker when I was a kid. I spent a lot more time outside. So I was typical little Indian kid with a haircut like this and short hair, and it was challenging going to school and being the dark kid, most definitely. Being made fun of, name calling. There was a lot of shame, even from the teachers that didn't even know. They were so uneducated back then. And things are getting better. They're not perfect yet. So that was difficult. I also had, both my parents were alcoholics. Actually, I would have to say 98% of my family had issues with alcohol or drugs or gambling. And I think, unfortunately, that's an issue that's common amongst our people. So that's another challenge I had growing up. And then domestic violence is another one too, right? I mean, just the whole, I hate to say it, but the whole common things that happen. So those I had a lot of challenges growing up. I also had a lot of good things. Learned to appreciate what I have, and I learned to fight at an early age and to go for what I wanted. All these things, they sound awful and they sound, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for you. But I tell you, I would not be the person I am today had I not experienced that and survived that and been able to move forward. It also taught me part of how I parent now. I know what not to do, and I know, I guess I know to find that balance and to take a step back and not to always think of things in a bad way.
When I grew up, my dad killed himself when I was 2.5, so I left my mother to raise 4 girls by herself. So that was an immense challenge. We were raised in poverty. To this day, I detest pasta because we ate so much dry macaroni. Porridge, it took me forever to eat a bowl of porridge again because we'd eat plain porridge with no milk, no sugar. So a lot of poverty, and then we were called flea bags in the school. School was challenging. Then I had a child when I was 15 years old. That was challenging. But I agree, it's what I've experienced in my life makes me who I am today. I survived all that. I'm a survivor of that. And I'll be able to relate with people that have experienced the same challenges. I can't say that I know what they're going to be experiencing, but I will be able to relate to what they're experiencing. I believe everything that's happened that's been challenging in my life has made me a stronger person. Even today, I take things that happen to me negatively, and I go, what am I to learn from this? Because it's a learning situation that's presenting itself to me. Sometimes I go, a few cuss words, and but then I stop and I'm reflecting on it. What was I to learn from that situation? And even as now, there's still challenges. They're not, when I look at my growing up days, what I go through today are not that big of challenges. But I think it's in our perception and how we each look at our challenges and what our take is on them, you know. I don't believe that anything's ever given to us that we can't handle. Another challenge I faced was when I was getting to be about grade 5, 6, 7. This was a challenge for me to be really, really brilliant because I got made fun of because I was an honor student. So I had to let my grades let them slip to fit in with the cool kids. I picked up cigarettes. I picked up a drink. I picked up a joint because I wanted to fit in. I didn't want to be with all the nerdy, smart kids. You know, so I've got a lot to be grateful for today because of the obstacles I faced in my past. But, and I'm grateful today that I went through what I did. My mother loved us dearly, but we had religion forced on us. You know, so today I know the difference between religion and spirituality. I know what's forced and what I accept, right? I know the smoothness, how smooth life can be. Love my mom dearly, and like I said, as adults, I even faced challenges. So my mom had passed away suddenly, killed on the highway, coming home from work one day, and I was living with her, ending a second marriage. And she was killed coming home, and that was, I didn't grieve her death, I drank my way through it. So it took me about 4 to 5 years after she passed away to actually go through the grieving process. So I was held a prisoner in the grieving process for a while there. As a child in my era, in our era, I don't know, can't speak for you, but we didn't talk openly about feelings. Feelings were suppressed. And I grew up without culture because of all the stereotyping and marginalization and everything else negative, that what was negative with being part Aboriginal. I didn't want to be associated with that. So I used my Polish name and I lived in a Polish world. Because, you know, it's better we could be Polish. And so now I appreciate my culture and I respect it today, and I'm learning a lot. And through AWPA, I've learned a lot. And I've got a lot of beautiful ladies that are always presenting and teaching, and I find myself in situations where I'm there for a reason, and I didn't know that. I'm just grabbing my camera. I'm a photographer. I love taking photos. And I just show up there, or I'm asked to be there with my camera, and it's for a reason. It's for my continued growth, or maybe I can help somebody and inspire somebody else. So all the struggles and all the challenges, as hard as some of them have been, were worth it to be where I'm at today, sitting right here in this moment. It's all been worth it.
Well, I guess for me, my biggest challenge was, you know, my mother was and still is, you know, quite well known in the community in that I was never brown enough and I was never white enough. You know, my family is varied in color, you know. We were considered the black sheep of her family because she identified and identifies with the culture. And her mother, my grandmother, was a white woman and married my Métis grandfather, but didn't necessarily embrace the brownness, I guess I would put it in that sense. So, you know, and it was always, you know, I was never brown enough and I was never white enough, and it was up until, I would say maybe 15, 20 years ago that I just started to think, like, what does color mean? It doesn't mean anything. And my mom always used to say, oh, we're the rainbow nation, my girl. It's okay, you can have your blue eyes, you know, it's all right. But it never sat with me, and I really had to work on that. That's been my biggest challenge in life, is knowing and being comfortable within my own skin and practicing what one of my adopted aunties and my mom used to say, AWPA, you're your own boss, and being comfortable with that.
Thank you. And I'd like to ask, out of my curiosity, maybe your curiosity as well, because we have young people in the audience. What, you know, we have our challenges that we had to grow up, you know, back in the day. What are your challenges, if you could say one word, maybe in your high school that's going on in this day and age? I don't know if you wanted to, if you could do 3, do you have any challenges at high school that, you know, do people bully you, or?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? What do they usually say, or is it more racial, or just?
Like, they just bother you sometimes, or?
And how do you deal with that? Do you just brush it off or keep on going?
I just laugh.
Thank you. And you two, is there any challenges that face you guys? Pardon me? Work? Oh, you have to work part-time? Or just the schoolwork? Schoolwork's hard. Yeah, you have pressures trying to get good grades and everything? Thank you.
I think it's important to acknowledge that the amount of pressure young people are on today is huge, in my opinion, compared to what we faced. And you may not know what you want to do grade 9, and your high school career is focused on that stream. You know, you basically have to, that's what they want you to know. Also, the teaching environment for our people, as Aboriginal people, we learn in a different way. And the education system has not been conducive to our learning, I guess, and it has supported that. So we have to be creative as parents and as individuals on how we learn things. And that's, I guess, some of the challenges I had when I was in university. And I adapted things, and I got punished for it by my professors. But I made things, and some essays, I did a verbal essay, and I recorded myself. And that was not accepted, but it might be the next time. And I said to them, I can't, so that's the course I failed and I had to retake. All I did was type out what it said, handed it in on a piece of paper, but I made my point, I think, where sometimes it's easier for us to tell the story than it is to write it out. So the challenge I even find with my own kids is that I've had to, as a parent, fight this education system. For, like, even my own son, he was told he would never graduate high school. He was told that in grade 3 when we moved out here. And that was devastating as a parent. So I fought every step of the way, I've had people, teachers and counselors say to me, it's okay to tell us if he's FASD. It's okay to tell us. Those assumptions are made as a parent. So those are more challenges. So I can understand, my kids are stressed right out in high school, don't know what they're doing. 2 are graduated, they're taking some time off, they're not going to university, and I'm okay with it, and they're okay with it, and society's not okay with it, that pressure to go on.
Even not even in high school. My son, who is in grade 5, he wants to go to a hockey school in grade 7. Right now, we have to start working on him to get his grades up because you need a certain percentage to get into this junior high. And he's only in grade 5. And if he wants to go, he needs to start working and get, those 4s like 100%. So he has to get his 4s and his 3s on his report card. So stress starts very, very at a very, very young age already in this day and age. Our next question is, what tips to making money stretch? Do you have any tips to make money stretch to the end of the month?
I'm big on budgets. And I never used to be big on budgets, but I married a man who likes to budget. And it really does. He writes it out every month, and we go through it, and there are certain pay periods that go to this and certain pay periods go to that. And as we learn to do that and develop our budget, we don't get late, or we haven't gotten late. And we've been able to put money away now because of that. So budgeting, I think, is very, very important. And he doesn't have a big ledger book or anything. He gets a package of gum, and he rips off this piece, and he writes it on there, and he keeps it in his wallet. And when he goes to the bank, he knows, and he ticks them off, and he likes to do that. I'm not that methodical, he is.